I bought this chainsaw about 9 years ago and it's been great. I use it every year. Start acting up this summer. There is issue with the carburetor. I have to keep playing with the choke to keep it running. So I bought a new carburetor kit off Amazon and I paid about $16 for it shipped. And I'm going to replace the carburetor. And I thought to record this video just in case somebody have similar chainsaw so they could benefit from this video. I never replaced the carburetor on this chainsaw, so this will be a learning experience for me as well. I hope you enjoy this video. I used this chainsaw yesterday evening and finally it's quit. I had problem keep it running. What I did, I removed the chain so when I bring it here, it doesn't damage the bed of the truck and also it doesn't damage the chain itself. To remove the chain, you have to make sure the brake is not applied because you will have hard time to remove the cover. So make sure the brake is released. I'm going to remove the bar just to make the size of it manageable on this table. Every time I replace the chain or do any kind of maintenance to it, I take it apart, blow it with air and all that. And every time I finish use it, I drain the fuel. Because if the fuel sit on it, it will damage the hoses, the carburetor and all that. And like I said, it's been running for 9 years. This cover is held by 3 screws, the Allen head, 4mm Allen wrench, one here, and one here. I'm removing these 2 nuts. There's a torque screw right here. I need to remove that. It's hold this cover. It's T25. There is this small screw, hold this lever to the side of the carburetor, and this is for the throttle. The head of these screws, it was also T25 torque wrench. This wire is soldered in. The way I clean this chainsaw, I left the spark plug installed. I cut a rag and I covered these two ports. And then I sprayed it with simple green, pressure wash it. After that, I dried it with compressed air. Then I removed the spark plug and I sprayed this area with carburetor cleaner, rotated the crankshaft to clean the rings and the piston and all that. Then I blew it with compressed air, and the top of the piston is very clean right now. It's shiny. I also sprayed the fuel tank with carburetor cleaner, blew it with air, and currently it's clean and dry. And I did same thing to the oil reservoir. And I cleaned all the other parts, and I'm ready to assemble it. I also verified the new carburetor is matching the original. In the past, I bought special screwdriver to be able to adjust these two jets, one for high and one for low. It's easy to lose. It's a small screwdriver, and every time you need it, you have to look for it. So what I'm going to do on this, I'm going to cut them with the hacksaw so I could use a small screwdriver to be able to adjust them. And I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to tie it in the vise. Make sure these ports are closed. Not too much, just enough to hold it. Make sure you hit it right in the middle of these bolts. And the way I adjust these, and I have good luck with that, I close them all the way, and I lose the low jet one full turn, and I lose the high jet 2 turns. And then I adjust the idle screw. I lose it all the way. I lose it all the way until it's not touching this part, and then I tie it little bit until just I see daylight. And then I tune it once I get the chainsaw running. So I'll close both of these. Don't over torque it, just to close it until it stops. This one the high. So I'm going to turn it out 2 turns. and this one 1/3. This one is not touching right now. Just like that. This is how I'm going to install the new fuel lines. This one will go through this hole, the smaller one. And you have to fish it out of the tank. Then you have to install this fitting at the end of the hose. And then this should register on this hole to prevent leak. I'm just using my finger to push it in, right there. On the fuel bulb, this line will go to the longer one. And this bigger line for the fuel filter. I replace these about once every 2 years. You have to fish the filter out of the tank to replace it. I'm going to remove this grommet to make the job easy, and it's probably a good idea to measure the length to match the original. The weight of this fuel filter will keep it down, so regardless of the position of the chainsaw, you will always get fuel. Alright, it's all the way in. You need to make sure it's seated correctly so you don't have a fuel leak. There is 2 gaskets, came with it. One of them will line up with this hole, and this should go like this. I'm going to apply a little bit of grease on this gasket. This is just regular bearing grease. The hole should point down. This is the throttle linkage. The fuel line coming from the filter, it should go to this. And this other one from the bulb, it will go to this one. The fuel line, I'm going to secure it with tie wrap. This hose is a little bit larger than it should be. The hole in this other gasket need to line up with this. I'm just crimping the connector so it will fit snugly. Snug them lightly. It seems to be correct. I'll leave that for later. The gap look right. However, if you want to adjust it, it should be 30 thousandths of inch. I applied some grease. I'm not going to install the chain until I finish doing this chainsaw for safety reason and also for transportation reason. I will install the chain when I take it to the range. The bar will go like this. This linkage needs to line up with one of these holes because the bar you could install it either way. The new carburetor kit came with the covers for the fuel tank and the oil reservoir. The original, they swell. I had hard time open them and close them. I filled it with a mix of gasoline and this, about 40:1 ratio, and I checked it for leak. It doesn't leak. The bulb is full of gas, and this chainsaw, it's ready to be tested. You do the adjustment through these holes. T will mark the throttle screw, the H for the high, L for low. The way I adjusted this chainsaw when I first started it, it was dying. I adjusted the throttle screw in until the engine continued to run. After that, I adjusted the high. You need to adjust the high first. When you press the trigger, it should rev fast, and when you let go, it should rev down quickly. If you tie it all the way in, it will rev at higher RPM than what the engine designed for, and this will damage it. Also, when you let go of the trigger, it will rev down slowly. So you need to make sure to set that correctly. Also, don't hold the trigger for too long. I don't have chain, and I'm not using this chain, so when the chain on and you cut, you could hold the trigger for too long because the friction and the cutting process will slow the engine down. However, if you just spinning the engine and hold the trigger for too long, it will spin at faster RPM and this will damage it. After I got the high set correctly, then I adjusted the L. Also the H, if you lose it too much, then you can't rev it up. The engine will struggle. It will not get a good mix of fuel and air. So make sure you set that correctly. Like I said, it will rev fast, and when you let go, it will rev down quickly. After that, I adjusted the L and T in combination. I kept adjusting both of them until I have the engine idle perfectly at very low RPM. After I install the chain, I'll make sure when I rev it up and let go of the trigger, the chain will come to stop immediately. You need to make sure to do that because this is a safety hazard. If the chain continue to spin without your hand on the trigger, then this may lead to injury or death. So make sure you set that correctly. Other than that, if you take care of the equipment, I have this now for 9 years. I always fill it with oil, sharp the chain or replace the chain when it wear out. Every time it gets empty from fuel, I blow it with air to clean it. I clean the air filter and I replace the fuel filter every about 2 years. And I replace the spark plug and the air filter at the same time. So every 2 years I do those, and it's been running great. I mainly use this chainsaw. I also have this other chainsaw as backup. I'm going to replace the carburetor on it. I may post it in separate video, or if it's similar to this one, then I may just refer to this video. This is the CS310 made by Echo or Echo. I hope you enjoyed this video. I also hope you learned something from it. Thank you for watching and thank you for your support, and I'll see you later.